He was never an all-star, but he was a really solid player in the NBA. He was even compared to Moses Malone at one point. He stated this himself: the best statistical season that he had in his career was during the 08 to 09 season. He averaged 23.1 points per game, 1.7 blocks per game, 1.6 assists per game, and 11 rebounds per game when he was on the Minnesota Timberwolves. But he suddenly just fell off and stopped getting sufficient minutes for the past few seasons. So the question is, what happened to Al Jefferson's solid NBA career? You'll see in a few seconds. If you are new to this channel and not subscribed to my channel, subscribe. I drop a couple of basketball videos per week, and I cover different topics of the NBA. Once again, it's Third Ivy 195 coming at you with my intellect. Stay tuned. Al Jefferson was drafted 15th by the Boston Celtics back in 2004. He was drafted straight out of high school. He was the first high school player to be drafted by the Boston Celtics in franchise history. He never got off to a really good start in his rookie season, but it wasn't that bad either. I've seen worse. He played 71 games during the 04-05 season and played for 15 minutes per game. He also averaged 6.7 points per game and 4.4 rebounds per game. The Celtics were able to make it to the playoffs in 2005, but lost to the Indiana Pacers in 7 games. Throughout the playoffs, Al Jefferson averaged 6 points per game, 1 block per game, and 6 rebounds per game, shooting 41.5% from the field on 2 for 5 shooting, playing a total of 19 minutes per game as a rookie, which isn't bad. He improved the next season, but unfortunately, he would only be able to play 59 games, and most people considered his sophomore season to be a huge disappointment because he was suffering a lot of ankle injuries and eventually went on to tear his meniscus in his right knee and missed the rest of the season. During the 2006 offseason, Al Jefferson would hire a personal chef, and he lost a lot of weight to get his body into shape for the next season. Throughout his career, on many accounts, he would talk about his weight. He suffered a lot of weight problems throughout his career. He also participated in the 2006 Las Vegas Summer League, but he was complaining that he was feeling pain. So he went to the hospital, and that's when he found out that he was suffering from bone spurs. A bone spur is often referred to as, in medical terms, osteophytes. And what causes the pain is when your bones meet with each other in your joints, and this is caused because of joint damage. He did surgery on August the 2nd back in 2006 to remove the bone spurs. Jefferson played the first 3 games of the regular season for the 06-07 season. He played pretty good for the first 3 games for a person coming off of the bench, but unfortunately, on November the 8th, before the 4th game of the season, Jefferson had appendectomy surgery at the New England Baptist Hospital. Appendectomy surgery is when they have to remove your appendix when an infection has made your appendix inflamed and swollen. If you don't do this surgery, when this happens to your appendix, it can cause severe damage to the body. Jefferson missed 7 games after the surgery, but he was able to return on November the 22nd. Jefferson was playing increased minutes this season as a reserve for the 7 games that he played in November back in 2006 and 2 games that he played to open up the month of December. He averaged 9.3 points per game, 7 rebounds per game, and 22 minutes per game. Things started to suddenly change for Jefferson when Kendrick Perkins, who was the starting center at the time, went down with an injury, and he became a starter because backup centers Michael Olowokandi and Theo Ratliff were injured as well. So Doc Rivers had no choice but to make Al Jefferson be the starting center. He officially started on December the 6th back in 2006, and this was against the Memphis Grizzlies. The next 7 games after his first start, from December the 8th to the 20th, he averaged 16.3 points per game, 11.1 rebounds per game, playing 33.7 minutes per game. He truly started to show that he could be a solid player in the league. He also scored a career high against the New Jersey Nets on December the 9th, where he scored 29 points and tied his career high 14 rebounds, which he set back on May the 5th in 2005 against the Indiana Pacers in the playoffs in his rookie season. And the Celtics went went on to win that game 92-89, which was the 6th game in the playoffs. The Celtics also won this game against the New Jersey Nets 92-90. The Celtics also went on a 5-game winning streak from the 9th of December to the 16th, but the winning streak got snapped against the Golden State Warriors on December the 20th when Boston lost 96-95. On March the 3rd in 2007, Jefferson had another career high where he scored 32 points and grabbed 18 rebounds against the New Jersey Nets again. On March the 5th, Al Jefferson was named the Eastern Conference Player of the Week, which they counted from February the 26th to March the 4th. Hate to say this, but Kendrick Perkins getting injured was the best thing for Jefferson in his career. Things would come to an end for Jefferson in Boston. The Boston Celtics decided to trade Al Jefferson during the 2007 offseason on July the 31st. Jefferson ended up signing a $65 million contract for 5 years with the Timberwolves. In his first season with the franchise, he led the team in points and he was finally able to play a full season for the first time in his career. He took his career to new heights because during the 07-08 season, he was top 20 in scoring, he was the 20th, and he ranked top 15 in point totals for the season. He was 11th overall in total points scored. He was also one of the only players to average 20 plus points and 10 plus rebounds for this season. The only other players to do that were Dwight Howard, Carlos Boozer, and Anton Jameson. Jefferson instantly became one of the best big men in the league. He ranked top 5 in rebounding and was 4th overall in total rebounds per game for the season. He was also 2nd in offensive rebounds per game, averaging 3.8. Tyson Chandler led the league that season with 4.1 offensive rebounds per game. For this season, Jefferson averaged a double-double. He averaged 21 points per game, he grabbed 11 rebounds per game, 1.4 assists per game, and 1.5 blocks per game, shooting 50% from the field, playing 35 minutes per game. So his past injuries before this season never really affected him too much. He also won the Western Conference Player of the Week for the month of January back in 2008. He got Player of the Week because he averaged 33.3 points per game and 15.3 rebounds per game, and was the reason why the Timberwolves had a 3-1 record from January the 21st to the 27th. He also scored a career high again against the New Jersey Nets on January the 27th, and the Timberwolves went on to beat the Nets 98-95, and he also tied his career high on April the 8th against the Charlotte Bobcats, but the Timberwolves went on to lose 121-119. The next season, Jefferson was averaging a career high in points until going down with an injury again after he landed awkwardly on his right knee against the New Orleans Hornets. He ended up tearing his ACL. He only played for 50 games in the 08-09 season. After he returned from the injury, he continued to play solid and get franchise highs until he was traded to the Utah Jazz during the 2010 offseason on July the 13th for 2 future first-round picks and Costa Koufis. He was able to play for a full season again for the second time in his career, and in his first season with the Jazz, in 82 games, he averaged 18.6 points per game, 1.9 blocks per game, 1.8 assists per game, and 9.7 rebounds per game. But the Jazz never made it to the playoffs. They made it to the playoffs the next season, in 2012, and he was a big part to the young Jazz team's success during that time. He would continue to play solid with the Jazz and still be one of the best big men in the league. People were even advocating for him to be an all-star, but unfortunately he never became an all-star, and he would lead the league in some statistical categories until he left the Jazz during the 2013 offseason. He was a free agent and he decided to sign with the Charlotte Bobcats. He signed with the Bobcats on July the 10th, and it was a 3-year $40.5 million deal. He played solid in his first season with the Charlotte Bobcats. For the season, he averaged a double-double. He averaged 21.8 points per game, 10.8 rebounds per game, 1.1 block per game, and 2.1 assists per game. He even became the Eastern Conference Player of the Month for March back in 2014. He averaged 24.7 points per game and 10.6 rebounds per game on 55% shooting from the field for the month of March that season. And he also won the Eastern Conference Player of the Month for April as well. He averaged 24.5 points per game and 14.3 rebounds per game on 53.2% shooting from the field. The Bobcats made it to the playoffs that season, but during the series versus Miami Heat in the first round, Al Jefferson injured his leg during Game 1. He suffered plantar fasciitis, and then he ended up missing Game 4. But regardless of him being injured or not, the Bobcats were not strong enough to take on the Miami Heat during those times. The Bobcats got swept. The franchise changed the name from Bobcats to the Hornets for the 2014 to 2015 NBA season. Jefferson would continue to play good for the Hornets, and his best seasons in his career came when he was on Charlotte. He made the playoffs twice with them and put up some of the best numbers he's ever had in his career, but he would still suffer from injuries here and there while he was on Charlotte and miss a number of games. His time would come to an end in Charlotte in the 2016 NBA offseason when he decided to sign a 3-year $30 million deal with the Indiana Pacers. Since his rise in the NBA, this was the worst his stats were from his solid days in the NBA. So the question is, what happened to Al Jefferson's solid NBA career? It's his injuries that he's been suffering over the years during his career, and he's still getting injured till this day, and he's old, so it caught up to him. And we all know that by the time you reach the age of 30, especially when you play sports, your body starts to break down. He's 33 years old, and he also suffers from weight problems, and he's playing on a younger team that is fast, and he just doesn't fit the system that is there. He is too slow and old and too heavy. He weighs 289 pounds. The NBA has changed over the past couple of years, and most teams are trying to change their style of play to benefit in today's NBA by being more of a jump shooting team. So Jefferson playing like an old school big man would play back in the 70s, 80s, or 90s just doesn't work today. Even the big men of today that do have sort of a traditional style of play mix things up, and they have a jump shot, and that's why some of them benefit in today's NBA. That's what happened to Al Jefferson. But that's it for the video, guys, and like I always say, please like and subscribe and hit that notification button and comment below. Tell me what you think. Your opinion matters. Peace.
Hope I don't see hell if my car loses control.